Hello everyone, nobody saw this coming. Not Ferrari, not the fans, and certainly not Lewis Hamilton. What was supposed to be the turning point in his Ferrari comeback turned into absolute disaster. At the Dutch Grand Prix in Zandvoort, a 7-time world champion crashing out in shocking fashion, leaving the entire Ferrari garage stunned. And the drama didn't stop there. Hamilton has finally broken his silence on the crash, and trust me, his words will shock you. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc unleashed a furious verdict after his collision with rookie Dutch Antonelli. Buckle up, because this is Ferrari's nightmare weekend revealed. Lewis Hamilton had come into the weekend with genuine hope. The season, up to this point, had been messy, but after the summer reset there was a sense of optimism. Ferrari had brought upgrades, simulator work looked promising, and Hamilton himself carried a quiet confidence as he landed in the Netherlands. For once, there was a belief that this might be the race where things finally clicked. But Formula One has a cruel way of punishing optimism. From the very first laps of practice, the cracks began to show. The SF25 was twitchy, unpredictable, and on a track like Zandvoort, where every millimeter matters, it was a recipe for disaster. Twice in free practice, Hamilton lost control of the car. Twice he saved it from the barriers, but not from the headlines. Instantly, the murmurs returned around the paddock. Was Hamilton struggling to adapt? Were Ferrari's updates flawed? Or was he just pushing the limits too far at one of the toughest circuits on the calendar? He dismissed the spins as part of the learning curve, but there was an edge to his driving that hinted at deeper frustration. This was a man still searching for the right connection with the car. On Saturday, things seemed to calm down. Hamilton managed to tame the SF25 enough to put in a solid qualifying run. He secured P7 on the grid, lining up just behind the leading pack and ahead of George Russell. It wasn't the kind of qualifying headline Ferrari fans dream about, but it was competent, controlled, and enough to make people believe Sunday might finally deliver. With the threat of rain in the forecast, strategy was going to play a huge role. Zandvoort rewards bold decisions, and Hamilton looked like he was preparing for a chess match, not just an all-out sprint. Then came Sunday morning, and the first signs of trouble appeared. On his reconnaissance laps to the grid, Hamilton was flagged for potentially ignoring yellow flags at pit entry. A small detail in the grand scheme, but enough to cast a shadow over Ferrari's preparations. Would there be a penalty? Would it complicate their strategy? Hamilton seemed unfazed on the outside, but the mood inside Ferrari's garage was already tense. When the lights went out, Hamilton got away clean. He tucked in behind Russell and settled into rhythm. For the first 20 laps, he looked composed and in control, managing his tires, keeping within striking distance, and waiting for the right moment to make his move. He wasn't forcing anything. He was calculating, biding his time. This was the Hamilton Ferrari wanted to see: patient, intelligent, waiting to strike when the opportunity came. That opportunity seemed to open when Ferrari called Charles Leclerc in for an undercut. Immediately, Hamilton came over the radio. Box. His tone was calm, his intent clear. He saw the chance to leapfrog Russell, maybe even climb toward the top 5. But in Formula One, the difference between brilliance and disaster can be as small as a fraction of a second. As Hamilton swept into turn 3, the first drops of rain began to hit the banking. The painted line at the top of the corner was slick and unforgiving. He pushed just a fraction too wide, and that was all it took. In an instant, the rear snapped away. The Ferrari spun violently and slammed into the barriers. His race was over. The silence in the Ferrari garage told the story. Hamilton's apology came quickly over the radio, but his tone gave it away. This wasn't bad luck, nor a mechanical failure. It was a mistake, tiny in timing, massive in consequence. Not only had Hamilton lost his race, but his crash also triggered a safety car that destroyed Leclerc's carefully timed strategy. Ferrari had gone from playing a tactical game to staring at disaster in the blink of an eye. Afterwards, Hamilton admitted the crash had left him shocked. He believed the car felt strong all weekend, and that points were well within reach. He even confessed he hadn't wanted to pit so early, preferring to run longer. But the sequence of calls led him to that corner, and that split second, it took me by complete surprise, he explained. The rear just went, and then that was it. The car felt good. My tires were good. It was a solid weekend until that moment. To come away with nothing is painful. Yet he refused to dwell on it, insisting he would reset quickly and focus on the next challenge at Monza. But Hamilton's crash was only the beginning of Ferrari's nightmare. One lap before the accident, Charles Leclerc had pitted from fifth for hard tires when the safety car came out. His rivals gained precious seconds by stopping under yellow, and Leclerc lost track position. His fury erupted over the team radio. "No effing hell. Oh my God, we are so unlucky, unbelievable." Whether he realized at that moment that it was Hamilton's crash that had caused the safety car is uncertain, but the frustration was clear still. Leclerc fought back on the restart. He went wheel-to-wheel with George Russell, lunging into the chicane with a daring move. The cars made contact. Leclerc clipped the Mercedes, but somehow muscled his way through. It was bold, it was messy, and it instantly caught the steward's attention. But for a fleeting moment, Ferrari fans had a glimpse of hope. That hope didn't last long. On lap 53, Ferrari's weekend came crashing down for the second time. Rookie Kimi Antonelli, fresh on new tires, dived aggressively into turn 3. He misjudged the grip and slid straight into Leclerc's Ferrari, spinning it violently into the barriers. Just like that, the second red car was out. Ferrari's Dutch Grand Prix ended in a brutal double DNF. Antonelli received a 10-second penalty for causing the crash, but the damage to Ferrari was already done. Leclerc, climbing out of the wreckage, made his frustration clear. He criticized Ferrari's late pit call, arguing he could have run to the end on his hard tires. But ultimately, he placed the blame on Antonelli. "It was a mistake from Kimi," he said. "You've got to be aggressive to overtake here, but maybe that was too much. He touched my rear left, and that was the end of it." To his credit, Leclerc was fair in his judgment. He refused to dismiss it as just a rookie error, pointing out that incidents like that can happen to any driver, no matter how much experience they have. He acknowledged that Ferrari's strategy wasn't the decisive factor, the collision was. In his words, every effort they had made that weekend was thrown away in an instant. When the dust settled, Ferrari walked away from Zandvoort with nothing, 0 points, to destroyed races. Hamilton's crash wasn't just another mistake, it was a symbol of Ferrari's fragility under pressure. Leclerc's fury over the radio revealed the emotional toll of yet another strategy blow, and Antonelli's collision sealed the team's fate. This wasn't just a bad weekend, it was a collapse of belief and momentum. Ferrari had arrived with hope, they left in pieces. The Dutch Grand Prix was supposed to be the turning point. For Hamilton, it was supposed to mark the moment frustration turned into fire. For Leclerc, it was supposed to show Ferrari could finally execute a winning strategy. Instead, all they got was heartbreak, a crash, an outburst, a collision, and the haunting truth that in Formula One, no matter how much history you carry, the only thing that matters is your last race. Ferrari's nightmare at Zandvoort was more than crashes, it was broken belief. For Lewis Hamilton, it proved how one corner can rewrite history. What does this mean for Ferrari's season ahead? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Formula One drama. Thanks for watching.